Thank you, Patricia, and thank you, Nadia, wherever you are, and Julie. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's as a startup brand, it's always great to be able to introduce and talk about your product and do it for free. So that's really nice. And to Bob, I don't know if you remember the TV series, the Kung Fu TV series of the 70s, but where there's the master and then there's the little boy, and the little boy is referred to as the grasshopper. I feel like NIKA is the grasshopper and Newman's Own is the master. So it's a privilege to be here. I wonder if I could do some of my market research real quick and ask for a raise of hands if you've ever heard of NIKA water before today. That's really great. That's the extent of our market research also. I'll give you a little bit of a background on NIKA and what we're all about. 3 years ago, we had the opportunity to meet an incredible human being, a guy by the name of Craig Kielburger. He's 27 years old, and when he was 12 years old, he started an organization called Free the Children. And today they educate over 50,000 kids in the developing world, and it's kids helping kids out of poverty. And Craig and we met with our family and really encouraged us to come to Africa and understand the difference between relative poverty and absolute poverty. Relative poverty being, I can't afford an iPhone, I must be poor. Absolute poverty being, I live on less than $1 a day, and I have to walk 5 miles to oftentimes get polluted water. And we went to Africa, we had a transformative experience. We learned some amazing things. We learned that 4,500 people die every single day for lack of clean water. We learned that 50% of the hospital beds in the developing world are occupied by people with waterborne related diseases. We learned that 50% of the world's population, 3.5 billion people, don't have access to running water either in their homes or to their home's property. We also learned that $8 billion would bring clean water and clean sanitation to every human being on this planet. And while that sounds like a daunting number, when you consider the fact and put it in its context that the United States spends $14 billion a year on ice cream and Europe spends $19 billion a year on perfume, and believe me, I love ice cream, not so much about the perfume, but I love ice cream. These are solvable issues and solvable challenges. And, just by making a difference, we really can make a difference in the world. So when we got back from our trip to Africa, we kind of brainstormed about what could we do to make an impact. And we kind of got on this idea of, very similar to Newman's Own, a sustainable donation model, where just by the profits of something, just by consumption, the profits could generate something that could be able to go back to fund NGOs and charities to provide a stable source of income. Because one of the things in the NGO world and the charity world is they're only as good as their last dollar that they've raised for the most part. And if you look at the history of the NGO world over the last 100 years, there's this start-stop mentality of funding. And that's a real problem. So, we began to think about, creating a bottled water product. And we picked bottled water because water is a very pure thing that we all need to live on. And we also thought it was pretty symbolic if we could come up with a water product and we sell in the United States, and the profits go to support bringing clean water to people that don't have access to it. And we looked at the environmental side, that there's a lot of concern on the environmental side of plastic bottled water. And we thought, well, what if we could create a best-in-class environmental offering? So we really looked at 3 things. One was that people have a concern over using a scarce fossil fuel to produce a single-use bottle. So what we did is we figured out a way to use post-consumer recycled plastic as our product. We also learned about the carbon footprint, and we measured our carbon footprint. We offset it by planting trees for reforestation projects in Brazil. So for every 98 bottles actually that we produce, we actually plant a tree. And then we learned about the recycling and the landfill issues and the fact that it takes 1,000 years for a bottle to biodegrade. And so we went to schools in states that don't have container deposit laws, unlike California. And in those states, recycling rates are significantly lower. So we worked with companies like Waste Management, where we put dumpsters on the school premises. Kids fill up the bottles with empty plastic bottles. When they're full, Waste Management takes them away and has them recycled. And then we write a check to the school for anywhere between a penny and 3 cents a bottle. So it's kind of neat because the schools get to make some extra money, the kids learn about recycling, and what we're able to do as NIKA is say that for every bottle we sell, we actually take a bottle back out of potential landfill. And we've been doing this for 2 years now, and we're in about 400 stores in Southern California. I'm really happy to say we're also here on campus at Cafe Mercado. just recently this year. And in our 2 years, we've so far donated $320,000 of profits. And similar to Newman's own, we donate 100% of our profits. And we've brought clean water to 4,500 people. And what we've learned that's just incredible during this process and the 5 projects we've done is that it only takes $20 to bring clean water to someone for a lifetime. I don't know about you, but I spent $12 at Starbucks yesterday morning. So, I mean, this is a very solvable thing when you think about that's the profit margin on just 10 cases of bottled water. And, you know, we get excited about that because if we can be a $10 million revenue company in NIKA, we can generate $1 million in after-tax profits. And that, based on $20, would bring clean water to 50,000 people permanently. And if we did that for 20 years, that'd be $1 million. And that's pretty, that'd be a million lives that we could affect. And that's pretty exciting. But what's even more exciting is what if, while we're doing this, you know, Bob and Newman's own is generating $300 million in money going to charities. And what if somewhere on the other side of the world there's another business doing the same thing? And what if a couple of you in the audience start your own businesses where you're giving back a portion of your profits? And pretty soon you've got this wave and this sea of businesses giving back. And we think that's a very powerful change that can occur to charities and to the NGO world. And I think we're at the beginning of a very important wave of social entrepreneurship that we're going to see over the next couple decades. And it's a very exciting and very positive wave that we're at the front of. And it really has to do with 5 things. First is the young people, the youth. Young people today really want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They really want to give back, and they really want to make a buck. Also, the internet, you know, provides global issues kind of front and center 24/7, so we see them all the time on our laptops. The internet also provides us with the ability to be academic researchers, you know, from our couch. And then you've got the baby boomers that are retiring and in lots of cases, you know, giving back a lot of their net worth. And you've got celebrities that are, you know, using their microphone and using their platform to talk about giving back. So we get really excited about this wave that, you know, as Gandhi says, we all can be the change that we want to see in the world. And we believe really strongly in that. I just would like to touch briefly on a few of the comparisons and contrasts to Newman's own that I heard in Bob talking. The first on the pros, you know, similar to Newman's own, we outsource our manufacturing. So we use co-packers for it. And, you know, that's a good thing and a bad thing. The good side of it is it keeps our costs low, and our fixed costs are very low, so our number of people are low. The bad thing is that it's easy for everybody else to get into bottled water too. But it makes things variable, which is important. We also, as I mentioned, are a for-profit business, and we call it a triple bottom line business where we're focused on the profit, we're focused on the environment, and we're focused on the cause. I think the role of luck and timing is critical in life, and, you know, I would throw timing into that as well. And oftentimes, though, when you look at somebody that is lucky, absent lottery luck kind of stuff, you look at the person, you peel the onion back, and you find that person, yeah, they were lucky, but they also happened to, you know, spend 10, 20, 30 years, whatever, kind of preparing themselves so that when that opportunity arose, they were able to take advantage of that, and it's perceived as luck in a lot of cases. The other thing I'd like to mention as a commonality is the value proposition of the product has to be very good. If this product costs $20, it may be the greatest product since sliced bread, but it won't go through the distribution channel because the distribution channel cares about profit. They care about turns. They care about that kind of stuff. And consumers won't pay that much. Likewise, if it's inexpensive but it's poor quality, it isn't going to work either. So the value proposition of whatever you introduce really has to be there. A couple of the things that are different is we don't have a celebrity, you know, to help us launch the brand. And, you know, I will say that there are a lot of celebrities that introduce brands that because the product isn't any good, they don't last. In Newman's own case, obviously, that was different. But we have to rely very clearly and very strongly on very grassroots, viral-based marketing, where we're really trying to, you know, bottom up Facebook, YouTube, you know, that kind of stuff, and make it really viral. The other thing that's different is, you know, we haven't had that tipping point, you know, where momentum all of a sudden takes a life of its own. You know, we're really trying to get there, but we haven't quite had that yet. So, you know, I'm thrilled to be here today, and don't want to take up any more time, but would love to answer Q&A as you guys have it. Thank you.